everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, TYT Politics, Emma Vigeland. Emma Vigeland did a story today that was extraordinarily disingenuous. Initially I thought maybe she made a mistake. Maybe she was conflating the story. After listening to the thing all the way through, it was very clear that she wasn't conflating anything. She just... Look, I hate to say this because I like Emma. I like TYT. I like her and Jordan. And I think they have typically a decent show. And I think between all the shows on TYT, theirs is probably the most journalistic. Meaning, they tend to be the most earnest. They tend to be the most honest. And they tend to function with a level of integrity probably more than the other shows. This is not functioning on the level of integrity. Is it possible that she's taken a position or taken an opinion? It's possible. But it doesn't really have a basis in reality. So, Trump reneges on TPP campaign promise. That's not true. That's factually not true at all. Trump murdered the TPP as soon as he took office. That is the one decent and good thing that Trump did when he took office. And look, Obama was pushing this deal. The deal was absolutely gross. It would have allowed multinational corporations to sue the U.S. government if we pass some law, regulation, or rule that adversely affects their profits. So it's like, oh man, I'm sorry your kid has cancer, but you're hurting my bottom line. So I need to drag you to this tribunal that's outside of this country. And no, your courts will have no influence on that tribunal at all. Our laws will become subordinate to multinational corporations. That was Obama. That was Obama. Trump got rid of it. That hasn't changed. The TPP is still dead and gone. So Trump reneges on TPP campaign promise. It's just factually not true. Let's hear it.
Hey guys, it's Emma Vigeland with TYT Politics. Breaking news, not really, but there was a report from the Wall Street Journal this morning, and of course Donald Trump has lied to the American people once again, but this time it's really major. If you recall, during our coverage of the election, we talked about how Trump may have been better than Hillary Clinton on two issues. One was war. He was more anti-interventionist, and Hillary Clinton had a history of war hawkishness. And the second was trade. Trump had railed against the TPP and NAFTA, which are two progressive the progressives tend to believe are disastrous for this country, and now Trump, on that second major campaign promise, has basically reneged and has gone back on it in a historic lie to the American people.
Look, I don't like Trump. Everybody knows that. I don't particularly like him. I just greatly dislike this thing of... There just seem to be so many things where you can hit him on. I don't like this idea of making stuff up to take a shot at him. And that is literally what's taking place. In the process of her saying Trump had a massive lie, she is committing a massive lie. And look, Emma, I love you to death. I think you're awesome. I think you and Jordan are absolutely awesome. But you are absolutely wrong on this particular story.
Trump administration is signaling to Congress that it would seek mostly modest changes to the North American Free Trade Agreement. By the way, he's called it a disaster and said he was going to scrap it.
Understand what just took place. It started off talking about the TPP, and it immediately transferred over to NAFTA. This entire story is about NAFTA. It has nothing to do with the TPP at all. Donald Trump, when he was on the campaign trail, he was being pretty hyperbolic about what he was going to do with NAFTA. Either he was going to get rid of it, he was going to abandon it altogether, or he was going to renegotiate it. All of this has to do with essentially a document that was put out, that Trump put out, or his administration put out, essentially showing changes that was going to take place or that his administration had planned on putting forward in NAFTA. not the TPP. The TPP is still dead and gone. This is still NAFTA. They were modest. They were far different than the rhetoric that was being used on the campaign trail. Now, if you want to say, well, he backed off on what he was going to say on the campaign trail, that is fair. I mean, with regards to NAFTA. But this has nothing to do with the TPP. And conflating the two gives this impression that he lied through his teeth about something that he did not lie through his teeth on. This is just wrong. She shouldn't do it. It's wrong.
The entire thing. Again, the Wall Street Journal reports that he did call it a disaster. According to an administration draft proposal being circulated in Congress by the U.S. Trade Representative's Office, the U.S. would keep some of NAFTA's most controversial provisions, including an arbitration panel that lets investors in 3 nations circumvent local courts to resolve civil claims. Critics of these panels say they impinge on national sovereignty. This is key because, yeah, you could say he was going to revise NAFTA, but one of the worst parts of the TPP was that it had these international tribunals where corporations were essentially on the same footing as nation states.
Now, right there, she's right. The specific detail, she's right. Like I said before, Obama was pushing this thing, allowing corporations to sue the U.S. government in foreign tribunals. Our courts could not intervene in that process. Our laws would have been subordinate to essentially foreign power. She's right. That was the TPP. There was an aspect of NAFTA that Trump is essentially negotiating, where this is remaining in the bill, or this is remaining in the trade deal. But that's not the TPP. Like, and initially I thought, well, maybe she's just making a mistake. Like, maybe she's conflating the two. But right here, she's not conflating the two. She full well understands what she's saying. She's making this argument that because this was an aspect of the TPP, and because this is now an aspect of NAFTA, or potentially will be an aspect of NAFTA, then NAFTA essentially is becoming the TPP. The TPP related to multiple countries, like 40% of trade all around the world. NAFTA relates to Mexico and Canada. That is a big damn difference. Look, that thing is gross. I don't particularly like it, so don't misunderstand me. The investor-state disputes. But this is not the TPP. Emma, come on, you have to know that. And calling it that gives it this impression that he lied massively. It gives a wrong impression. It intentionally obfuscates what took place. The correct and honest framing to this would have been Trump backs up, or Trump softens his stance on NAFTA. That was essentially the headline for the New York Times. That headline is absolutely correct. This has nothing to do with the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And it is a massive leap to go from, here's a story fully about NAFTA, but now I'm talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership because that was one of Trump's biggest agreements, or that was one of his biggest campaign promises. If you're going to say that he went back on that campaign promise, then it should have something to actually do with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and this absolutely does not.
So that allows for just a total abuse of corporate power and putting them on the same playing field as, you know, Uganda, or I don't really know all the nations that are included in the TPP, but as governments, it's obviously problematic. Basically, if ExxonMobil or a certain corporation didn't like a law in Wisconsin, for example, they could sue in these international kind of tribunal courts under the TPP that these proposals were leaked from the Obama administration. So these tribunals where corporations can kind of circumvent state law and national law are some of the things that people had the biggest problem with in the TPP. And Trump said that he's going to basically keep one of the more controversial provisions in NAFTA, which is a leg of that, an arbitration.
This is massively disingenuous. I'm sorry, it is. I hate doing this. I like Emma. I like her. So I'm uncomfortable doing this. I don't particularly like it. And if it was somebody else, Yes, I will probably be a little bit rougher in the process. The provision was already in NAFTA. It was already there. It's not a situation of Trump putting something in NAFTA that wasn't there before. She's talking about something that was already in NAFTA. Now, Trump is not removing it, or at the very least, we don't necessarily think he's removing it yet. Nothing has been finalized. But come on, certainly, there's a difference between him negotiating and put something in NAFTA that was similar to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or something that was one of the most onerous aspects of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, as opposed to leaving something onerous in NAFTA. He didn't put that there. Bill Clinton put that there, or whoever was during that particular administration. Obama tried to put it in the other one. I agree with you that it would be nice if Trump got rid of it. But you can't blame him for something that he did not do. And you can't get on TV or get on YouTube and make this argument that somehow by him not getting rid of NAFTA, or for him not necessarily stripping NAFTA from limb to limb, that is exactly the same thing as him not killing the TPP that he killed as soon as he took office. This is massively disingenuous. Emma, man, come on, dog. Come on. Integrity matters. Integrity matters. And I'm not giving a lecture or anything like that. I'm just saying, if you're going to do a story like this, look, what is your objective? And I don't say this because of Trump. I don't care one way or the other about Trump. I'm saying this because of my own objectives. When I took this channel, my original idea was I wanted to bring people over to my side. I wanted to win the argument of sorts. And maybe not even win the argument. At the very least, to get people to realize that the parties are a problem. And that insofar as they stay with those parties and toe those lines, this country will not change. Part of that means I need a certain amount of integrity. Meaning when they hear me, when I'm saying something, when I'm making a case, when I'm making an argument, they need to at the very least believe that what I'm saying I'm being earnest with. And that I'm not functioning from a level of bias. You're literally saying something that's just factually not true. And what you're using as a justification for it is something that he didn't even do. It just seems massively disingenuous. I want to move the country forward. And in order to do that, if I want to get right-wingers to listen to this person who's probably farther to the left than most people, then I need to function from a level of integrity. If you want people to take you seriously in that sense, and not just lefties, I mean, across the spectrum, yes, they may disagree with you, but there's a difference between somebody disagreeing with you and them thinking you're a shill. I know you're not a shill, which is why this bothers me and why I am doing this video right now. If you want to bring people to your side, if you want to change the narrative, if you want to be able to influence opinion by people who don't necessarily ideologically just fall in line with you right off the bat, you can't do stories like this. You can't do stories like this. This guts credibility. This completely undermines credibility. You're literally doing a story saying that one of Trump's largest campaign promises and one of his first and only successes that he lied about, in the process of you calling him a liar, you are in fact lying about something that he did not do. That's all I'm saying. Tighten up, Emma. Tighten up. And look, TYT Politics, I don't want you to get the wrong impression. TYT Politics is pretty damn good most of the time. Her and Jordan are on point. This, however, is not on point. I'm calling this out because I really wish this is not repeated. I honestly wish this is not repeated. That channel, for the most part, functions with a level of integrity, and I would prefer they continue to function with a certain level of integrity. It kills me to say this, particularly in response to Trump, but this is not functioning with a level of integrity. This is not functioning with integrity at all. This just seems somewhat craven. Like I said, initially I thought, okay, maybe she just made a mistake. But as the story went on, you can see she's making this cognitive leap between NAFTA and the TPP. Those things are different. Those things aren't the same. The only honest framing that you can really give that is Trump backs off on some of his claims for NAFTA. The New York Times ran a story today, and that's essentially there. It's Trump's softened stance with NAFTA. She's right about the investor-state dispute. There's more to it than that, though. I mean, he is doing a review of it. He's trying to look through things that are causing a trade deficit and so forth. It's not fair to just say, oh, he's keeping this one particular thing. Mind you, keeping, not adding. Keeping a particular onerous provision that's completely gross and disgusting. But that's not fair to say that that's the same thing as him essentially reviving the TPP. So, come on, Emma. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. Alright, guys. If you like the content, feel free to like, share. Definitely feel free to comment. Also, Patreon, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks, guys.